My name is Yolanda. Now, I put a different title on my slide because I forgot what I submitted to talk about, but it's the same thing. I actually presented my very first PhD chapter at the very first Reef Social Science event 4 years ago. It was on how do we communicate climate change in the Great Barrier Reef. 4 years later, one PhD, a small NGO, several hats in the reef and climate space, and I can tell you I still don't have an answer. So I want to share a bit of that with you today. I don't have anything quantitative or I guess everything's qualitative. I don't have any new research to show you guys. I'm sharing an opinion because I thought this was a safe forum to share that. And the work that I'm sharing today is actually a frontline experience piece. I was based on Heron Island during the 2024 bleaching event, and so had a bit of a sit down and chat with the resort and the research station to talk about what that experiences were like. You know, we've done a lot of theory and how do we communicate things better, a lot of message testing, but what was it actually like to be on the front lines? And so I want to share a bit with you today and hopefully pick some of your collective wisdom as well to figure out what happens next. Before I go on, I just want to acknowledge the Bindal and Wulgarukaba peoples, traditional owners of the land that we're on today, and also extend that respect to all the traditional owners of the Great Barrier Reef. We know that they're the first explorers, first divers of the ocean and the reef, but also the first storytellers. And given we're talking about communication and communication challenges seem to keep coming up, we have a lot to still learn. So we're actually going to do a bit of audience interaction. Sorry, not really. So find a partner quickly. Or threes. Okay, you're going to pick partner A and partner B. Allocate. Great. All right, I need everybody to close their eyes. Okay, close your eyes. Great. You're out on the Great Barrier Reef. Good, right? It is the most stunning day you've ever seen. It's glass out. The reef is glistening. The sun is out. It's the best day. You haven't been out in a while. It's going to be a fantastic day on the Great Barrier Reef. One of you, partner A, you are a marine tour guide. You're a snorkel guide. You're about to take partner B on a snorkel tour of the Great Barrier Reef and show them for the first time ever one of the natural wonders of the world. Partner B, you're a tourist. All you've seen so far is the news, right? You've heard the reef's dying. Looks pretty good to you today. All right, you're going to turn to partner A and say, what is going on? Tell me, is the reef dead or what? All right, and partner A, you have 30 seconds to answer. Go. "15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, I'm going to bring everyone back in. Bringing everyone back in. We've only got 10 minutes, people, because I've got another one. All right, you're going to close your eyes again. You're out on the Great Barrier Reef. The sun's not shining today. It's a little bit windy. It's the middle of summer. The reef's not looking so great. It is bleached as far as you can see, horizontally and down to 20 meters. There's a bit of fluorescing here and there. It looks quite nice. You're taking a snorkel out on the Great Barrier Reef. We're going to swap partners this time. So, partner A, you are seeing the Great Barrier Reef the first time in your life. It looks kind of odd, but it's pretty colorful in some places, and you just saw a turtle go past, so that was pretty cool. Partner B, you're the tour guide. The reef that you've been seeing the last few months is now looking quite sad, and you have to turn around and answer the question, well, what's happening? Are we all screwed? You have 20 seconds. Go. All right, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you for participating in my experiment. Was that easy or hard? How do we find that? hard. It's not easy, and I feel like the people in this room should know a lot about how to answer those questions. What I wanted to test was to show you that it's really difficult, but this is the reality of people who were on the front lines of the bleaching event, having to answer questions in very little time, especially if you're in tourism. You've got to go do something else. You've got to go clean up vomit somewhere. You've got to pick up some gear. Like, you've got 30 seconds to answer a really tough question about something that's very deeply connected to who you are. And so I wanted to share a bit about why it's so complicated in real life. And so these reflections are not just my own, they're from other people who were there at the time. And so, yeah, Heron Island in 2024, 2023, 2024, I was actually finishing up my PhD on climate change communication at the end of 2023, and the universe was like, lol, here, test run. We were situated there knowing what the predictions were for summer. And so me and a few people from the resort, we thought, well, let's try and film it. Let's document the whole journey. So we got a bit of funding. We had a good agreement from the resort to try and, film what that experience was like as the bleaching event unraveled. And what hit was kind of something we weren't expecting. It was the worst event they've ever had in the southern Great Barrier Reef. And it was really, really difficult, but not just because it was emotional. And, I've studied climate change and reefs now for 6 years. I actually don't think I needed to see it in that state, not particularly motivating. But what was difficult was the communication challenges. And so we kind of there was 4 main things that kind of came up for us. So we did write this up in an opinion piece, haven't published it, but there are 4 main things that we kind of talked about that were hard from all perspectives. Because in reality, Heron Island should have been a perfect place to communicate this. We have a research station, a resort. It's like a physical place. It's not just out in the remote Great Barrier Reef. So people can come, other scientists can come, politicians can come, media can come and actually sit and talk and watch. But it was actually really difficult. So number 1, communicating under uncertainty was really hard for the scientists who've been watching it since September all the way through that summer event. They knew what was happening, but science, while it always comes with some uncertainty, they didn't want to give the wrong information. They didn't say, we don't actually know the severity, the extent. We don't know any of that, and we won't know it for months to come, But at some point, they were being asked, tourists were picking up things, media was picking up things, they were forced to reply. So there's a real tension between scientific uncertainty and trying to give the correct information to try and raise the awareness when these events are happening. Number 2, the font's all weird. Emotional realities. It was traumatizing for scientists, for tourism, for everyone coming to visit. It was very, very actually, emotions have come up a lot today, and that well-being was from everyone who was witnessing that event was deeply impacted. Interpretation, we have, the media is one way of communicating it, but actually the main way people found out about bleaching is coming to have a look. Tourism played a huge role in this. My good friend Elliot is a master reef guide, activities manager at Heron Island Resort, and he was, I've only got 2 minutes left, and he kind of had some extra resources, but guests were coming up to ask the bar staff, the kitchen staff, all these questions. They don't know how to answer. They'd love to be able to. So kind of interpretation was right on the front line, but not that easy either. And then, of course, the reef's a big political football, very difficult to get any messages through. We actually had our footage stolen, not just by media, but by a big NGO who used our footage exactly in the way we agreed with the resort we would not use it. So we had to get that taken down. So it was quite difficult. And I'm going to rush through this last bit because I wanted to just bring this up. Anyone heard of the South Australian algal bloom? Yeah. So it's been really interesting. So we've gone down there because it's the first big visible ocean climate event, really, that's not bleaching. And it's been very interesting and distressing watching the response unfold down that way. So the team at Divers for Climate have been down talking to the marine tourism industry, the divers, to figure out what's going on, how are you communicating it, are you having trouble, like what is happening? And the similarities between the Great Barrier Reef and this algal bloom have been fascinating. All those same problems, communicating uncertainty, emotional well-being, interpretation, people they want to be able to answer customer questions and they can't because the information is just not available to them. Because of time, there's a QR code. We ran a national webinar the other day with Rodney Fox Dive Expeditions, Whyalla Dive, and Great Southern Reef Foundation to give a bit of a frontline perspective into what it's like communicating this event down there. There's a case study report that we've written, free to download. Please do watch. Psychology for a Safe Climate has also partnered with us to run some climate cafes for the anxiety that people are feeling with the algal bloom. I haven't put the QR code there, but I can give you the link to that as well. And I really just what I wanted to wrap up with was that we're going to keep facing these events. they're going to keep coming. This morning was lovely. We heard the past 50 years of the Great Barrier Reef. I want to keep working in this space for the next 50. So we're going to have to figure out how to communicate these events because they're going to happen in different ways around the country. We've got the algal bloom bleaching, kelp forest, flooding, these big visible ocean climate events. And when we think about climate risk communication, yes, there's a lot of research. Marine climate risk communication, nothing, so we need to kind of start figuring this out. I'm coming. My last thing to leave you with was I wanted to kind of invite everyone to the conversation and figure out, radical collaboration and communication comes from design thinking, and ignore the diagram. That was ChatGPT and me having a day. To think about what a real trust-based collaborative communication effort looks like. We all have the same goal at the end. Us and that big NGO that took our work have the same goal. The Marine Park Authority and the tourism operations have the same goal. Scientists have the same goal. We want to see the reef protected. And we know we have different challenges and barriers and institutional constraints, but can we work together in a way that can communicate these events that lead to action? And that's all I have to say. Thank you.